Hi, nerds. Quickly before we started this episode, we just wanted to acknowledge the tragic and untimely death of Anton Yelchin, the actor that played Chekhov in this rebooted franchise. His loss is truly, truly unfortunate, and he will be absolutely missed. And we just wanted to dedicate this episode to him, as well as offer our best wishes to his friends, family, and loved ones, as our hearts and prayers truly go out to you. Hi, nerds. I'm Presley.
And I'm Meredith.
Welcome to Nerd Chat, a podcast where nerds chat. So today we are tackling a very, very big topic. You know, it goes really far out into space, one could say.
It's sort of like one of the core nerd topics. It's almost like being a fan of the thing we're talking about today is sort of like a very stereotypical nerd thing to do.
Yeah, it's hard to call yourself a very true nerd without having at least some cursory knowledge of this franchise.
Exactly. It's like if there was like a nerd like qualifying test, there would be a few questions on this topic.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Their ongoing mission, to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life forms and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before.
So we're talking about Star Trek, guys, a topic that gets me very, very, very excited. I know I say that literally every single episode, but this time it's very true. Just a quick clarification. We are talking today only about the rebooted movie franchise from 2009 to 2016. We will absolutely, definitely have more episodes talking about the original series, Next Generation, the movies, all of the things. But because Star Trek is universe encompassing, like it's so big, we did not feel we could adequately do it in a single episode. So we're going to kind of break it up. And because Star Trek Beyond just came out, we thought we'd start there.
Yeah, I was very nervous when Presley told me that he wanted to do a Star Trek episode because I was like, are you kidding me? Like that I have to watch 600 episodes of TV in a week. That's never going to happen.
No.
See, I'm familiar with Star Trek, but I'm by no means like a devoted super fan who's seen every single season of every single series.
To be fair, I have not seen everything that there is to see about Star Trek.
I mean, a very few people have, I feel like.
Yeah, it's true.
Shout out to you, like true. Well, actually, let's just dive into this. I thought that people who were really devoted to Star Trek, big fans, were called Trekkies.
And I just informed you that that's not accurate.
Explain.
Okay, so you guys can tell us in the comments or shoot us an email if this was wrong, but as far as my understanding goes, the term Trekkie, when Star Wars came out and whatnot, and there was the big decisive issue about which is better, Star Trek or Star Wars, and all these things came out, Trekkie was in the very common vernacular for people that liked Star Trek. However, Star Wars fanatics and other sci-fi nerds got into using it more as a derogatory term, saying like, oh, you're a Trekkie, aren't you? Isn't that funny? Why don't you get your tricorder out?
What if I do get my tricorder out? Then what are you going to do?
And I think over time, it sort of evolved to become Trekker, which is like, it's harder to turn that and be like, oh, you're a Star Trekker. I mean, I guess I just did, but it doesn't sound like...
Yeah, Trekkie really has, in like popular culture, gotten a heavy... secondary meaning to go with it, you know?
Yeah.
It kind of is like a synonym for the word nerd.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would like to be a Trekkie.
I've never had an issue with being called a Trekkie or calling myself a Trekkie. I've had issue like people an old friend of the family, Will's dad, is a big Trekker, and one time I called myself a Trekkie around him, and he's like, no, it's Trekker.
Well, that's probably... It's probably like a generational thing.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
So this generation, we're reclaiming Trekkie, just so
yeah.
we have that on record. We're Trekkies and proud. Live long and prosper.
So we wanted to talk a little bit, for the whole episode actually, about the new movie franchise. And we both have just seen Beyond. It came out last weekend. It's doing very well. And so what did you think, Mer? Just general kind of talking points. Oh, also probably spoilers. Definitely spoilers.
Definitely spoilers.
But the movie's been out. Yeah, just go watch the movie. You know, it's a good. I definitely recommend it. And spoiler warning.
I have a recommendation. If you are looking to feel lonelier in your life,
okay.
I recommend going to see Star Trek Beyond by yourself at 11:30 in the morning on a Sunday at the Grove.
What was that experience like, Mary?
It was horrifying because I couldn't just go up to the machine and act like I was going to meet someone. I had to go up to because I got there a little bit late, so I couldn't buy my ticket from the machine. I had to go up to the person.
Right.
And so I said, I'd like to see Star Trek. And she said, for how many tickets? And I had to say one.
Why didn't you buy them online, like on Fandango?
Looking back, it's a huge regret. I've never felt so alone, quite honestly.
You're not alone. You're with the family of the USS Enterprise.
Yeah, that was a good thing. I was not the only Trekkie who was alone and who was there. So
welcome to the family.
We had each other. Overall, I thought it was a super solid entry into this rebooted franchise. I liked it a little bit less than the first movie.
Yeah.
And a lot more than the second movie.
Okay, so you... Okay, yeah.
What about you? What did you? How does it rank for you?
That actually is a very similar ranking. The problem is the first one's just so good. Like, it really took so many things that I liked about Star Trek and showed me like how they can fit into a modern context, because so much of Star Trek is very, very old.
And so dated.
Yeah, it's very dated. Like, watching the original series, you know, which is from the 60s, is very doesn't quite work anymore.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I popped on like a few classic episodes right before we recorded this podcast. Because that's like from whence we came. That is the original. That's what all of this is based off of. That's what conventions are thrown for. But physics books are written about, entire TV shows, movie. Like, it's a phenomenon, and it all comes from
an entire language.
Yeah, an entire language, Klingon, all comes from this kind of like rinky-dink, late night, early television show.
That only made it 3 seasons.
It only made it 3 seasons, so I was watching it, and it's so, for me, it's like all the ideas are there, and all of the really philosophically interesting twists and turns, like the special effects are so, it's like distracting from what they're trying to do.
I agree.
And that's what makes the reboot so cool, is it's like they finally have the technology to make it all look real.
Exactly. And, there's so many things. Like, when you first see the bridge of the Enterprise, like, that's how you always kind of pictured it would be when you watch, like, the 60s version, so to speak. And, like, all these things sort of come together and it really fits. And even the stuff, it's like, why are they using a tricorder when we definitely have much better cell phones now? Like, stuff like that like should have carried over, like stuff that you just couldn't know about. It really sticks with the, classical things that it was always doing, and just makes it visually more modern, which is what I really like. So I'd rank it very similar to you. I would go, my favorite is the first one, then the third one, and then the second one. But certain sequences and like things that happen in the second one are some of my favorite in the series. So it doesn't break down necessarily completely movie by movie. Like, there are definitely things that I would rank ahead, not in that order, from different movies. So, Mara, now that we kind of have, we'll go more into Beyond a little bit later into the podcast, but I'm just curious, what are some of your favorite just aspects, things about Star Trek? Because there's so much stuff. There's the Klingon language. There's, the interaction between the characters. There's the different planets they go to. There's so much. There's such a wealth of stuff, that goes on in Star Trek. I'm curious, what are some of your favorite aspects, both from the new movies and just from your general knowledge and background?
Okay, so I almost don't want to start with this because it's really going to brand me early on.
Okay.
But if you asked me Star Trek or Star Wars, I would say Star Trek.
Okay.
And that's nothing against Star Wars, and I'm sure we're going to have many opportunities to talk about Star Wars in future episodes.
For sure. It'll definitely come up.
But for me, Star Trek is the most philosophically interesting. And
Yeah.
I mean, it just has such a sort of broader, richer writing, like original, like core thing to draw from. Like the original series was like 78 episodes or
something like that. Yeah.
Whereas the first Star Wars movie is like an hour and a half. So I think that, and also just like the idealism in Star Trek, where they're really trying to like build a better world.
They're explorers.
Who really, I mean, and they're idealistic explorers. So they're really working towards like the perfect union. And I love another thing I really love about Star Trek is how political it is.
Yeah. You and I were talking about this a few days ago.
That's something I almost miss from the reboot. I think the reboot could be a little more. I mean, the series was so heavy-handed about like Vietnam and racism and sexism, and that was the 70s.
And there was a lot of things about that going on right then.
Exactly. So, but I've always loved that about Star Trek. I always loved that it was, it really took your mind to a different place, to using like fantasy elements and sci-fi elements and alien species to make comments about our world. I just love that. So that's like my favorite thing. What's your favorite thing about Star Trek?
It's not necessarily in it, but I love the kind of culture that's been created around it. The constant discussions about which captains are better, which series are better, which alien species is the coolest, people talking in Klingon. I love like the nerd culture that it created.
The community.
Exactly. Yeah, because like Star Wars, much similarly, they both were kind of like these things that happened and no one really knew the ramifications or anything like that, but suddenly exploded. Like Star Trek or Star Wars could have just as easily like fell on their faces and no one could have ever noticed them again, but they both like just got these awesome followings. And Star Trek, to like the nth degree, showed what like a simple basic idea can really explode into. And I really, really like that. And I love, that even now, 50 some odd years later, we're still getting these movies and having discussions about them and talking about all these fun things. It's a really, really cool thing. I love it when, so many things in nerddom are like that. And I think that's one of the biggest, longest lasting ones.
Yeah, I think like building on what you're saying, in philosophy, we always talk about this phenomenon called like a thought experiment.
Right.
And that's basically where like you make up a hypothetical world and you like go there in your mind so that you can like test a proposition.
So philosophy majors just sit and imagine things.
Basically. And I feel like Star Trek like really goes there. They're like, okay, well, what if this was true? What if this is true? And I think because it's willing to go there and explore all those different possibilities, it's sort of like inclusive. Everyone gets to like imagine like, well, what if I was on the Enterprise? And like, what if like the Romulus like didn't attack? It's like, I feel like that really draws people together because you get to be part of the story yourself in a way.
That's a really good analogy actually. And I love that. There's a constant like there's the nerd thing of like what shirt are you or what division you are, because there are like 4 divisions of Starfleet.
Wait, I was going to ask you that.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Ask me the question then.
Well, I didn't know there were 4. There's like the gold shirts, the blue shirts, and the red shirts.
Yeah, so the 4th one's a little bit more obscure, but it's definitely seen in at least 2, if not 3 of the movies. And that's the medical. So each color denotes a different, not rank, but different class.
Division, yeah.
So the gold or yellow, it's more yellow than gold, I think, but sometimes it's gold, is the officer class. So like that's captains, pilots.
Command and flight control.
Yeah, there you go. Then there's blue, which is science, which falls under, science and technical engineers, and also a lot of medical staff falls into that. Then red is engineering or dead, because there's the constant, if you're wearing a red shirt and go on an away mission, you will die. That's like the whole thing. And then the fourth one is medical, like explicitly medical. And it's only ever seen when someone's wearing their white scrubs. It's the white one. And Bones wears one several times in the series. And it's like the Red Cross insignia on the same thing, and it's usually on white or blue, like scrub-esque clothing.
Okay, well, I'm eliminating that fourth one.
It's real. Like look up the different classes in Star Trek, and you'll find always there will be 4.
Okay, so what shirt are you? I think I know the answer to this.
I mean, I see myself in a lot of different shirts because I have a sciencey thing, and because I like it. I could see myself in the blue shirt, but I could also see myself because I'm a little bit of a fix-it guy and I work on a lot of things. So I could see myself in a red shirt. I think I could see myself in a gold shirt, but I don't know if I'm quite as commanding or leaderly as I would need to be in a gold shirt. But I could be a lower ranking gold shirt. I think you could rock a gold shirt. Okay,
but I don't.
What do you pick for me? I'm curious because that might help me. I feel like I'm sort of a Scotty or a Bones.
Yeah.
I'm not a Spock. I'm a Scotty or a Bones. So either blue or red for me.
I think you're red.
Okay.
At first I thought blue, but then I realized that it's kind of like warp is like Wi-Fi. You're the guy I go to fix my Wi-Fi. If my warp was broken, I need you to fix it too.
Great. So. I'm just the guy that you call for maintenance.
Well, that's what I think.
My space toilet's broken. Please come help me, Presley.
I think I'm a gold shirt. I gotta say. I'll explain why.
I mean, you don't fit into any of the others.
Exactly. I'm not. My understanding of scientific methods, inquiry, and facts is not good.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you kind of did explain a certain level of science, and that is your philosophy of creating a world and controlling the variables and seeing what happens, because that's essentially the scientific method.
Okay, well, that opinion aside, I'm garbage at science.
It's true.
And I am probably like the least adept at engineering person maybe ever.
Yeah.
And also I'm extremely bossy. So I think a gold shirt is the natural fit for me. I think I'd probably lead my ship into chaos and probably destruction, but I still think I could do it.
I think because you can be like any of these shirts and still be like a very high or low ranking member. Like just calling me like a red shirt. If I'm like a red shirt Scotty, I'm the head. Like I'm very much of higher up in, Scotty, even though he wears like a red shirt and we consider that bad. And the way that's denoted is by the cuffs. You can see they have gold bands along the cuffs, and the different number and thickness of them indicates your importance. So
okay, nerd.
Hey, you asked me about
guys,
what the different ones.
It's okay. This is like a nerd safe space. This is where we're allowed to be nerds, and I'm only going to call you one sometimes when you're like really explaining that.
Yeah, definitely let us know what shirt you think we are and what shirt you think you are, because it's really fun to kind of speculate and talk about it.
Yeah, send us an email. I'd love to know what shirt you think you are. Let's just plug our emails. Mine is Meredith at nerdchatpodcast.com.
And mine's Presley at nerdchatpodcast.com.
Obviously, if you're listening to this, you are lonely.
Okay, well, that's not necessarily true.
You're right. That's not necessarily true. Odds are, if you're listening to this, you're lonely. So go ahead and give us a shout. We'd love to talk to you about what kind of shirt you are, because we love to talk about that.
It's fun. We like talking to our listeners. Okay, so now that we've talked some of the bigger, broader scopes of Star Trek, I want to get down to some nitty-gritty questions for you about Star Trek. I would love to talk about what you thought overall of Beyond, how it fits in. What do you think of the movie? Get as specific as you want. Do you like it? What scenes do you like? Stuff like that.
Okay, one thing that I just want to shout out to Beyond for is keeping them on a planet for the majority of the time.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I've seen a lot of episodes where they're on different foreign planets, like fighting or like exploring or being lost. So I really liked that because to me this movie almost felt like a more nostalgic throwback in some
Oh, for
ways.
sure. Yeah.
Like we were watching like a modernized version of the TV show, whereas I felt the first two movies were a bit more like epic in scope, a bit more like blockbuster-esque. This was kind of like just more like the episodes, I think.
And just piggybacking off what you just said, I read a review a few days ago. That wasn't like a great review, but it said something really, really interesting, which is that like the Beyond feels like a classic Star Trek, like a very, very, very good episode of the TV show.
Right.
And that, yeah, I completely agree. And I was going to ask you, but this is a good segue, because they spend so much time on the planets, you noticed that they had different costumes on, didn't you?
I only noticed that they were like slightly different.
Yeah, so all of the costumes were changed. They were like in the first two, all the gold, blue, and red, all of them have like the Star Trek insignia, kind of glittery, glistening sort of vibe to them, and they're very bright. But in this one, they're like a matte finish, sort of like felt-esque sort of material. And they did that because they like pop way more on like in the natural light of like a planet, so to speak, as opposed to because they spend like infinitely less time on the ship than they do in this one. So they changed the outfits for that. And I thought that was interesting because they spend so much more time on planets.
It's really cool. And I also, so we're going to get into like our favorite characters, but I love Spock and McCoy.
Oh my God, that was such their banter and talk is so great.
Exactly. So they were like a team this entire movie. So I really got to like really nerd out and enjoy everything they were saying to each other. That was good.
Yeah, so that was probably like your favorite sequence is them, the two of them going through.
Ooh, favorite sequence.
Sequence or few minutes of movie, that kind of thing, like.
I mean, I loved all their scenes together, but I think my favorite sequence was when they were coming on to that new base. What's it called? Elmwood or something?
Yorktown.
When
they show off everything?
Yeah.
That's really pretty.
It's really cool. And also when they turn up the music to destroy the
okay, I know that we might get a lot of hate because I don't know that that's like everyone's most favorite scene from the new movie, but that was like one of my favorites was them playing fucking Sabotage, a great song to sabotage the enemy. It was like so appropriate, and Kirk just being like, good choice.
Yeah, it wasn't canon, but it was like heartfelt.
Why wasn't it canon? That song exists in the universe.
No. I'm just saying, like, it's not a scene that reminds you of any scene from the old.
Oh yeah,
movies.
never, yeah.
Like they didn't have the technological capability, and Kirk's always been like kind of a loose cannon, but he's not like like it was just not exactly a throwback, but it had the same heart and like feeling of other Star Trek.
The feeling was a throwback.
Yeah.
If the scene was not. Yeah, those are good choices. I respect those.
Yeah, I was really into that. I liked anytime Jayla called Scotty Montgomery
Scotty.
That was cute. What about you? What were some of your favorite parts?
So it really like hurts my heart to say it, but the scene where the Enterprise is being destroyed is like a very good scene.
Yeah, that stood out.
It's like very sad, and I did not break down into tears or anything like that, but like I felt like my heart hurt a little bit. And just like watching these like little tiny ships just eviscerate the ship was actually like a pretty powerful, cool moment. And watching right at the end of that scene, Kirk just standing on the bridge, then finally like going to the escape pod, like literally as it hits the ground, was just very powerful to me, I thought. because he at the beginning of the movie you hear all these reservation and him like trying to stop being the captain and him not liking the mission anymore, and like for him to suddenly like see his entire ship destroyed being like the whole message of that is like a very powerful sentiment. My other favorite scenes were all of Chekhov and Kirk's scenes, because they like there's a lot of pairing up in this movie with individual characters because they all get separated after the Enterprise was destroyed, and there was something about the two of them coming together that felt like very good to me. There was like they had this really really good chemistry, because we've seen a lot of interaction between Kirk and Sulu, Kirk and Bones, Kirk and Spock, Kirk and Uhura, like all these people, but we hadn't seen Kirk and Chekhov by themselves a lot.
Yeah.
And it was really fun to see that, and they both like it was just a lot of fun and it was good.
I really liked all the different pairings in this movie.
Right.
But I do wish that they had taken this opportunity to develop both Uhura and Sulu more as characters.
Because they were the two that were paired that were like, nope, we're just not going to talk about you. Because they weren't having an adventure. They were just being kept prisoner.
Yeah, I keep waiting for them to do something fun with Uhura where she's not just like, yes, Captain, or like, thinks of something really smart. I want her to have like a little bit more of a backstory, a little bit more ass kicking. And same with Sulu. Like they show a lot of his like reaction shots, but we don't get a lot of like what motivates him as a character. So I was a little disappointed that we didn't get like a heart to heart when they were captured.
Yeah, I agree. Uhura, in terms of the original series where they're pulling her from, is very much the same character as she is in this movie.
And I get that, and I understand that, but it's also 2016, so like...
No. That's not to say I'm disagreeing with you. I just see where they're building her character from. And Sulu, one of the problems that he's had is that in the past two movies, he has a lot of screen time. He's really good. I love that actor. I don't know. He's been in a few other things.
John Cho.
Yeah, John Cho. He's really, really good. But in the first movie, he has the fight scene with Kirk, and there's all these fun things, right?
Yeah.
And then in the second movie, he kind of partially takes over as the captain and does all these things, along with him and Spock when, Spock orders everyone to abandon ship when the Enterprise is falling to Earth, and he says, with all due respect, we're not going anywhere, and is trying to fix everything. And then, like, they introduced him being gay in this movie and having a daughter and a husband, and that was it. That was like, they never talk about him. They just show that happens, and that was like all they put in there for Sulu.
Yeah,
I was like, couldn't you have developed him alongside that?
They put, like the first shot you see of Sulu basically is like his daughter. It's like, oh, nice, he has a daughter. It's like, oh, nice, like he has the daughter with another man. That's it. That's all we know.
Yeah.
We don't know his name. We don't know how they met. Like, come on, give us something. Like, if you're going to make it a gay, like, if you're going to make it gay, why not give us a little romance?
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like the only romance going on.
Like, Spock and Uhura, like, really need to, like, turn up the heat. Or, like, why can't Kirk have a love interest?
Because that would go against his whole character.
Okay.
Because like the biggest joke about Kirk throughout the entirety of the original series and throughout the movies is that he's like a big whore.
Yeah.
He like fucks anything that moves, right? And so like putting him, I really thought they were gonna pair him up with Admiral Marcus's daughter.
Yeah, of course.
Who I was really sad that they did not bring back, because I really, really liked her in the second movie. She was actually one of my favorite parts of it. I thought she like brought something different to the table that they needed in that movie specifically. Maybe you disagree, but I thought she was going to be back for this one, and she wasn't.
Yeah. I'm just salty because I want to be the, like, Kirk's love interest.
Oh, yeah, Mer?
Yeah. Speaking of which, I wanted to throw this out to you because I think one of the reasons that this franchise reboot did so well back in 2009 was like the impeccable casting, but
so good,
especially of Chris Pine as Kirk and Zachary Quinto's Spock.
Yeah, they're like, when I look at William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy, they were like exactly the roles that they needed to play for both of those, and I think the exact same thing of Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto. Like, I can only see them as those sort of characters now.
Like, they're so true to the characters that were created in the original series. And at the same time, they're completely modernized and like perfect for our generation.
Yeah.
And a special shout out to Zachary Quinto, who I just think is like so good in these series.
He does something incredibly special with Spock for being, Spock as a Vulcan should not have emotions, but because he's half human, he does have emotions, and his ability to display both emotional and unemotionalness at the exact same time in certain scenes is like the scene where Kirk is kind of getting in his grill to try and aggravate him to give up the captainship in the first movie. Watching him like lose his shit on him, like it's an incredibly powerful scene, and it's really wonderful.
Right, it's amazing. The way he like portrays that duality is impeccable. Really made me fall in love with him.
Yeah, I completely agree.
But one of the other things that I love, and I think Chris Pine brings a lot of like gravity and humor and a lot of really positive characteristics to Kirk.
Yeah, I agree.
He has like this intensity and this forcefulness, but also like this laid back kind of like slacker thing. Like he really just hits all of the things I would want to see in like my ideal Kirk. But mostly I love to watch him on screen. So we are going to play a special Nerd Chat edition of Fuck, Marry, Kill.
Okay.
For the uninitiated who are listening, Fuck, Marry, Kill is a game where you are given a list of 3 people, and you have to say who you would fuck, who you would marry, and who you would kill.
Okay, can we get one point of clarification in here?
Yes.
I'm always, whenever I play this game, I'm always under the impression that the person that you marry, you're not allowed to ever fuck. Is that the way you play or not?
No, you fuck them every night.
But the person that you would fuck, you only get to fuck once?
Yeah, it's like a one night stand. Those are my rules. And also, this is another important rule. Death is not an option. So if you'd rather have a bullet to the head than have a gay experience, it's not an option in this game. So you have to pick.
Okay. Okay.
So here it is. It's our first ever Fuck, Marry, Kill Nerd Chat edition. You can add a little music there if you'd like.
No, thank you. Please ask the questions.
We're going to go with the 3 Chris's of like movie nerddom today. Chris Pratt, who's the star of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
Chris Evans, who's Captain America in the Avengers franchise. And, of course, Chris Pine, our beloved Kirk.
Okay, I'd marry Chris Pratt because he's the guy that I would just like love to hang out with the most.
Yeah,
and I feel like that. Yeah, like he would be my buddy as much as he would be my lover.
Oh, totally.
I would have a one night stand with Chris Pine because I don't want to kill him. Wait, who's the third Chris?
Chris Evans, Captain America.
No, god damn, this is hard.
I know.
No, I'd have a one night stand with Chris Evans.
You'd kill Chris Pine?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No.
Chris Evans is just like so nice.
Is he?
He would be like, it would be a nice.
Yeah, I do feel like Chris Pine is probably more of a jerk.
Okay, it's your turn now.
Well, this is an important thing that you brought up because I was just taking in hotness, but like Chris Pine is probably not that fun to hang out with because he's so good looking.
Right.
But so
can we just clarify that we know none of these people? If any of the 3 of you email us and talk to us, we will love you. Like we have 0 quarrels with any of these Chris's, but this is just a game. Go ahead.
Thanks for the disclaimer.
You're welcome.
I also would marry Chris Pratt because he's so funny and lovable and cute, and he also like he wasn't hot before, so that's whatever.
He has a grounded sense to him. Like
yeah.
He's a very, everything I hear of him, every interview I see, everything I hear about Chris Pratt is that he's a literally perfect person outside of his acting portrayals.
He's just so friggin' likable.
A lot of the same with Chris Evans. Like, he's supposedly like a super charismatic, nice guy. So those are the people that I'd want to hang out with. And by default, Chris Pine would be killed. Not because
Okay,
I hate
well,
him.
I would.
Your turn.
I'd fuck Chris Pine and I'd kill Chris Evans because he seems a little boring.
Okay.
That's it.
That's fair.
Okay. Thanks for playing.
That wraps up. That's the official wrap up of our Marry, Fuck, Kill game. We're so sorry.
Thank you for participating, and you guys can look forward to more of those in a future episodes.
No. Okay. So now that we've talked about some of our who is your favorite character, crew member character of Star Trek universe, both in this movie and extended universe? Actually, no. Let's go with the TOS universe. Only this crew.
Spock.
Okay. Because you're emotionless and like
That's the funny thing is like I am the most I couldn't be less like Spock.
Yeah, I really thought you were gonna say Kirk.
Oh no. Spock all the way.
Okay.
I am like the opposite of Spock. Like he is like completely detached, emotionless, logical. I am constantly flying off the handle. I'm extremely emotional, extremely sensitive, very in tune with my emotions as well. And logic is really not something I usually tend to consider in my decision making. But Spock is such a compelling and endearing character. He's flawed, but he's like striving for excellence in a way that some of the characters I think like don't quite match his intensity. Like he more than anything wants to be a good person who makes rational decisions like we all do. And he fucks up and we get to see like his learning process and I just love it. Also, he definitely has the funniest lines in the reboot in my opinion.
Yeah, he's very good in the and at least in the third movie he was like on point every single line he says.
Yeah, I mean, and also he's the only one who always makes sense. Like
the one, can I point out this one problem that I actually had in the third movie of Spock?
Yeah.
Is like in the second movie, which was a total ripoff of Wrath of Khan ending when Kirk quote unquote dies when he's fixing the Enterprise and then he yells Khan and goes after him. And then in this movie, for some perplexing reason, Spock suddenly thinks that like him and Kirk are like not friends anymore, or like they aren't friends that they need each other, so to speak. Like he's constantly questioning whether or not Kirk needs him, which I thought was like the dumbest thing in the entire movie. It was like, no, because like Bones keeps reassuring him. He's like, are you kidding me? Like, he could do without me, but he could never live without you. And I was like, oh, yeah, of course he could never live without Spock, but Spock is too stupid to see it.
I'm sorry. That didn't upset me as much. I think that he's just a wonderful character.
No. That was just my one complaint.
So who's your favorite character?
My favorite character fluctuates between two great characters, but I narrowed it to Bones. I really, really like Bones because he has that sort of like contrarian attitude to literally everything, which is something that I often have. But
you are Mr. Contrarian, so
that's not always true. But
it's always true. Do you see how he was just a contrarian to my statement?
Well, you can't accept the fact that you're a contrarian, and you can't deny it. That's the worst statement ever. Anyway, I really like Bones because I love his super down to earth outlook on everything, because everyone's like always like the hope of humanity and like we're gonna go explore and everything is great, and Bones is like, no guys, hold on just 1 second, this is actually really fucked, can we talk about this for a second? Yeah. And I really, really like that. Like in the first episode when they're all trying to figure out how to invade Nero's ship, Chekhov comes up with like this great idea and he's like, how old are you, kid? And Chekhov says, something cheeky. And then he's like, oh, great. We're being led into this like massive firefight death sequence. He's always just very real.
Yeah. He's so like pragmatic and practical because Spock completely gets off. He's on his own planet. Exactly. He's making up his own like logical rules. And Kirk, like, it's more subtle, but like he'll get to places where you're just like, whoa, like that's never gonna work. And McCoy is always like the realist.
Yeah, he's always the Kirk's the leap before looking sort of guy, and Bones is like, I'll follow you, but I'm gonna just check the edge first and then maybe come. You know,
Yeah.
it's not quite as like wholehearted. What is it?
Gung ho.
Gung ho. God, I'm an idiot. It's not as gung ho as everything that Kirk does, and I just like him, and I like the doctorly sort of trying to fix everything. Also,
I love
vibe.
the southernness too.
All of his frickin' metaphors are just perfect.
He's a wonderful, wonderful character.
Okay, so who then is your favorite villain of the 4 in this new franchise that they've created? Just to refresh everyone's memory, the 4 villains are Nero, Admiral Marcus, Khan, or Krall.
Okay, you may not like my answer.
Okay, it's fine.
Krall.
Okay.
And the reason I say you may not like my answer is because he has never before appeared in the Star Trek canon that I could find. That's right? They made him up for this movie.
Yes, I believe so. You know, people can yell at us in the comments if we're wrong.
Yeah, please tell me that I'm not a Trekkie. Excuse me, Trekker. And I'll tell you I'm a Trekkie. I love Idris Elba. Can I just start by saying that? Like, and I really loved how evil, how dark, how like menacing he was. The ship was so intense. It was beautiful. It was unique. Just the idea of it, they could break into so many pieces and be so destructive. And
it was never one ship, but I see what you're saying.
And I love the twist that that he was part of Starfleet, who kind of went crazy and went off and became evil and like sucks the souls out of humans to live forever. Like, I just loved it from start to finish. So what's your rebuttal?
I don't like the arc. I didn't like the sort of like he is a warrior, so he must murder people sort of like justification. Because that was like his whole bit was like when he's trying to unleash his weapon on Yorktown, he keeps, you know, he's like, I was trained to be a warrior, and then they gave me this captain's chair as a token. Like, like I was like, but that you don't need to kill like millions of people. Like, you can just not. Like, you don't need. Like, I understand that you felt abandoned, and that's like difficult. But like you literally teleported to an area of space you didn't exist in and like were trapped here. Like it wasn't like anyone's fault. And I just found it to be like a really sort of narrow tightrope to walk as a character, you know? Like I just don't feel it's a good justification. Well, I really love Idris Elba. I thought the character of Krall was very scary and ominous up until like the last 5 minutes of his screen time.
I have a question.
Go.
How did Uhura know that it was, you know, the commander or the general?
The same reason that I knew before you did, apparently.
Just looking at that video? Like, how is that supposed to tell her?
So I didn't know Idris Elba was in this movie, period.
I didn't either.
And then they introduced Krall, and within a minute of him talking, I knew it was Idris Elba because Idris Elba has a very recognizable voice. And I knew it was Idris Elba. And the whole point of Uhura is she is a linguistics expert. She speaks hundreds of languages. And so that is not at all.
She recognizes the voice.
Yeah, she hears him in the background. And you know, if I could do it, I'm pretty sure Uhura can do it.
Right.
And I.
Okay, well, who's your favorite villain?
So you're not gonna like my answer.
Oh God.
I really like Khan. He's such a classy villain.
Good.
Yeah, you didn't like him. I might need to change my answer. Here's my thing, and we've talked about this before. We're definitely gonna have an episode in the future of Nerd Chat about serial killers because Mary and I both have deep fascinations with serial killers, and I love Khan's serial killer mentality of do literally anything you want ever, murder, destroy, pillage, destroy some more. You know, the scene where he gets stunned after they've taken over the larger ship, and then he gets up and tackles everyone, like destroys the leg of the girl for that gut-wrenching scream, and then literally crushes a man's head to death. Like, that's some evil I can get behind, so to speak. Like, he has such a deep, rich motivation. The same motivation that like all the other characters have of like trying to protect the people that they care about. You know, it's the same reason why Sulu fights so hard, and the same reason why, you know, everyone in the series fights for what they believe in. But he is the evil version of that. He's the antithesis of literally everything that, you know, he's like every character of the Enterprise wrapped into one and turned evil. And I really I really think it's interesting.
Yeah, he's kind of like the Joker, where it's just like pure anarchy, pure terrorism, like doesn't give a fuck about anything, just like out to destroy.
Yeah, and so yeah.
I just thought that
that's not to say that Into Darkness isn't my favorite of the three. I just really like his singular character.
And
the
I
scenes he's
hate
in.
too much on Khan because I know, I mean, you know, like the most famous and popular Star Trek movie, at least before this reboot, I think was The Wrath of Khan. And he's such a classic Star Trek villain. I think the second movie just kind of killed him for me. I just didn't really get it.
There's a lot of problems cited. Like the second movie is like a very poor movie in terms of like a lot of the plot things that it uses to explain itself.
Right. And I thought that they introduced way too much and like misled me with where the movie was going so many times. So by the time I kind of like caught on to what was going on, I like sort of didn't care.
Yeah. Like a lot of people point to the fact that like Into Darkness fixes literally every problem that humanity has ever had, including death, because they literally bring a character back to life with like magic blood.
From
so
the
it's like,
death,
yeah. So they've had like a lot of right after that movie came out, there was a lot of things about it. It's like, Kirk wakes up from his coma and he's like, oh, well, we have to get back to the Enterprise so we can go then. And then like a character walks up and he's like, why? We can just beam anywhere now that we have these magical beaming technology that can literally beam us to another, like, and we cured death and like all these other things like that apparently just don't matter anymore. And so, yeah, I can see why Khan can get a bit of a bad rap because he wasn't in the best movie.
Yeah. But he's a good villain overall. Shout out also to Nero. Nero, I think, is my favorite.
I love Nero.
Original.
Nero's my second favorite of all of these. So I think he's a really good character, and I think him kind of losing his mind after being trapped in the past, and then having to stay there for 25 years and watching his entire planet get destroyed. Like he's a great character. He just doesn't. He's not as evil as Khan for me.
Yeah.
So, can we just quickly actually one more thing, what is your favorite singular scene from the Star Trek movies as all three of them? Because we talked about our favorite things and beyond, but we didn't talk about all the three, like if we have a singular favorite scene, because I know I do and I'm curious to see what yours is if you have one.
I think the scene in the first movie where Spock loses it on Kirk and has to resign as commander is
Captain. Well, he was a commander before he became captain, so that's why it's an important distinction.
It is an important distinction. My apologies to all Trekkies out there. You probably think I'm fake as fuck. I just think that's a super powerful scene, and it really exemplifies the duality we were talking about earlier. I think it's just awesome. What about you?
Yeah. My favorite scene is the frickin' space jump from the first movie. It's like, it's really lame for that to be my favorite scene, but the scene, where they dive off of the transport ship and land on the drill, there's something about it that's so compelling to me. I've rewatched that scene probably 50 times, and it was just a very different scene for me. I had never seen a scene in a movie quite like it, where they, fall from space to land on this very, very small platform and then have to do this battle on this like very difficult, terrain while like one of them's dangling and trying to not die just from the sheer parachute. Sulu's just trying to live while Kirk's fighting and doesn't have any weapons. Like it's so compelling and good, and it formed a really cool thing. And then they start to fall off the drill and need to be beamed back while falling. It's like a great scene. I just love that scene.
It's a great scene.
Okay. Quickly, before we get into the special surprise thing that you don't know about, can we just quickly talk about how great the lens flare is?
Oh my God.
So our favorite thing collectively, both of ours, about these movies is the lens flare because of how tasteful it is.
Okay, but I actually have a bone to pick with
please
with Justin Lin.
Okay.
I do not like how the quantity of lens flare in each film has steadily diminished.
Okay.
The first movie was like a giant lens flare with some like space involved.
It was more lens flare than movie.
Yeah, exactly. And that made me obsessed with it. The lighting Can we just get that lighting guy back, or that post-production guy, whoever it was who was responsible for the overkill of lens flare in the first reboot? We need you back. We need you.
It was definitely
back
just
on the
JJ.
team.
JJ was sitting there in the editing bay, just like, can we just get more in there? Just
I mean,
back it
I
in.
believe it, but like, JJ, we need you back, please. Is he too
Yeah.
busy now with Star Wars?
Yeah, I don't know. I can see why it's logical because like for both of the first two movies, they're like completely, almost entirely on these ships, and there's no lens flare when they're on really any of the planets except when there's like giant lasers and stuff like that. And so
Right.
like it makes sense for there to be less lens flare here.
Yeah, I guess it does.
But I
make
agree
sense.
that it was not enough lens flare.
Not enough lens flare. And also shout out, I had no idea that Simon Pegg is Scotty and that he wrote this script and
It was a
Star
great
Trek
script.
Into Darkness. So
Yeah.
shout out.
How did you not know he was Scotty?
I just didn't know. I
Okay,
never know.
well-
Guys, in fairness, I never know when it's Simon Pegg. I watched all 3 of the Cornetto trilogy, and each time had to be explained who the Simon Pegg character was because he transforms into a different person for me.
Because he's a very good actor. I love Simon Pegg.
I can't differentiate him.
Did you know he was also in the new Star Wars? Quick sidebar.
No, obviously not, because I don't know when
That's
he's
because
in anything.
no one did. He had an uncredited cameo appearance where you can't actually ever see his face. Rey goes to him like 3 times. He's the giant alien monster that gives her the ration packs.
Shut up.
No, it's very true. You can see photos of him in the suit, and he was absolutely on set.
Wow, that's magical. But yeah, so when I was taking notes on the first movie in preparation for this episode, the first thing I wrote was lens flare, because they could have just called it Star Trek lens flare, and it would have been accurate.
I would have been happy. It's a good movie, regardless of how much lens flare there is, because we love it. Okay, so
Wait, sorry, one more thing. If our listeners have not seen the YouTube video where they go back and add the lens flare to the original series,
it's very good.
you really need to check this out. It
Yeah.
proves everything. I'm team lens flare forever.
Okay, so now we have a very special thing. Mare does not know about this. I prepped this completely without Mare's knowing. She knows just as much as the listeners do right at this moment. We are going to have a special Star Trek quiz time for Mare.
Oh, fuck.
I've prepared 12, I forgot to count, questions for you that are
Okay.
only about these 3 movies.
Okay.
That are... everything is said. All the answers are within these movies. There's no need, it's not some obscure thing from the original series that you wouldn't know.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna have a special thing, and if you get, I think I'm gonna make it 7 out of 12 correct. You're gonna get a special prize, which our listeners will find out about, or we'll give our listeners a special prize. I have yet to decide, but I thought it'd be fun.
Okay. I'm scared because I don't like getting hate mail. And after all the talk I just went through about liking Star Trek, you guys, I don't understand sci-fi or fantasy, but that doesn't mean I don't enjoy it.
Again, you don't need to understand these sort of
Okay.
things. They're all things that are present.
So
in the
why?
series.
I think the listeners need a little bit more backstory. Why are you doing this?
I think it would be really funny.
Okay. And it will be
I'm
funny because
Because anyone who is a Star Trek hardcore fan will know the answers to these things very, very quickly because they pay a little bit more attention than I think than a lot of people. You know, any person that's devoted to a franchise will look constantly for references and throwbacks and all these things. Just like in Ghostbusters, you know, like we're both crazy about it, so we go in looking for all the references. And so I know I picked up a lot more things than you do, and I'm curious to see where that differentiation is. Like, how much more did I pick up than you?
Okay, so just for those who didn't follow that, Presley does not think I'm a true Trekkie, and he's trying to call me out in a public forum.
Yes, that is it.
So for your listening enjoyment and my personal embarrassment, here we go.
Okay, are you ready?
No.
Question 1. What race is the villain in the first movie?
Romulus.
Incorrect.
No, that's it.
That is the planet that they are from. Not
No.
the race that they
Okay.
are.
But fuck. Okay, Vulcan is like their close related species,
Okay.
and they come from the planet Vulcan.
Incorrect.
Okay. I don't care.
They are called Romulans.
No.
From
I'm talking
Romulus.
Okay. That's not fair because I was like backtracking and talking about Vulcans so that I could like figure out.
Would you have gotten it?
I think I would have. I think you have to give me that one.
I will give you a half point.
Okay. It sounds like they're saying Romulus in fairness. Romulans.
That's the name of the planet that they're from. Romulans are from Romulus.
Great.
I'll give you a whole point.
Thank you.
Okay, that's 1 point. How old is Chekhov in the first movie?
I don't know.
Okay. Do you want to know the answer?
Can I guess?
Yeah.
20.
He is 17.
Damn it.
I made sure to not say it when I was talking about Bones because
Aren't
he
you
references
clever?
how old, yeah.
Could we change it to like if I get 4 out of 12, I get a prize?
I might mercy you depending on how it goes. Okay. This one's a 2-pointer potentially for you. What is the name of the character that Sulu replaces as the pilot of the Enterprise? Because when Sulu first is introduced, Captain Pike asks him where is the original helmsman, and he says, "Oh, he has." The second part of the question is, "What disease does the helmsman have?" And then he says, "I'm Ikado Sulu." So if you can name either of those, you get a point for each. So what is the name of the original helmsman, and what is he sick with?
No and no.
Okay.
I don't even have a clue.
Okay, it was worth a shot. His name is
No.
helmsman?
Let me guess.
Okay.
Fernando Selquestrian, and he's sick from cancer.
Okay, very wrong. His name is Helmsman McKenna. We only get his last name.
Okay.
And he is sick with lungworms,
Oh, okay.
which I'm pretty sure are fictitious. Okay. So this one you'll definitely gonna get, but
Yes.
I feel like it's need to be asked. Why is Spock an outcast?
Because he's half human.
Okay, very good. That's point number 2.
Shout out to Winona Ryder. If you're a fan of the podcast, you know I love Winona Ryder. And she's Spock's mom in this reboot.
Okay. Another question you're definitely not going to get. What is the name of the planet that they first visit in Into Darkness? It's where the opening sequence takes place. It's a Class M planet. They saved from a volcano.
Oh my God. Okay. See, the problem is that I just watched all these movies in the span of about 3 or 4 days. So they're all like blurring together.
If you name, I'll give you 3 chances to name it. If you name it in one of those 3, I'll give it to you.
Okay. I don't think I'll need 3 chances to get this wrong.
Okay.
Can I have a hint? What letter does it start with?
It starts with an N. N as in Nancy.
Oh, damn it. I feel like Oh, it's the one with the white people.
Yep.
Oh my God.
It's said multiple times and it's written on screen. I feel like it is an ample opportunity for someone
You're making me feel so stupid.
You're not stupid. It's a hard question. I wouldn't have known it unless I was like specifically trying to remember it and writing it down.
I don't know.
It's called Nibiru.
Okay. Yeah, I was not going to get that.
Okay. I feel really bad now. What is the name of Khan's alter ego? What is his pseudonym?
Ooh, I remember liking it.
It's a very run-of-the-mill sort of name.
Yeah, it's you guys, this is a trick question because I know that it's not Benedict Cumberbatch. So we can just cross that one off the list. It's like the alias that he's going by for like half the movie. I don't know. I just think of him as Cumberbatch, you know? I'm not trying to think about... Can I get like a first name and maybe I can give you the last name?
Okay, I'll give you the first name. First name is John. I said it was a very run-of-the-mill name.
John... Can I get first letter last name?
H.
Hughes.
No, oh my God. Really, Mare?
No,
Okay.
no, John.
No, I gave you way too much. Okay, you get one more try. Try it again.
John Huxley.
Oh, okay. It's over. John Harrison.
Okay, well, as you guys can tell, I'm very close to winning.
Okay, what is the name of the planets that the Klingons are from?
Good question. It's not Klingon.
It's not Klingon. I will give you that much.
It's not Klingon, but it's very bad, and you should not go there.
Yep.
Can I get a first letter?
Starts with a K.
Oh fuck! Does it sound like Klingon?
No. I'll give you a very, very obvious hint.
Okay.
It's
good.
about time you remember it.
Kronos.
Yeah.
Yay!
There you go. I'll give it to you, even though it was a very obvious hint. Okay. How many torpedoes / crew members is Khan, asking for, looking for? How many
72.
torpedoes? Say again?
72.
Okay, good. 4. Okay, sorry, I got to switch notebooks because I have the other questions in a different one. Okay, what is the name of the ship that they retrofit to get to fly again to leave the planet and beyond?
Damn it! I would have paid. I would have paid attention to that if I thought I was gonna be quizzed on it.
Yeah, but it's more fun.
Is it the Hamilton?
No, it is a founding father though.
No, that's
I'll give you one more try. I'll
fair.
give you one more try.
That's not fair.
I said I'd give you one more
It's
try.
a founding father
Yeah.
who's not Hamilton. I don't think it's Madison.
Nope.
I don't think it's Adams.
Those are both incorrect answers.
Is it Washington?
No.
No. What is
It's the
it?
USS Franklin.
Oh, he's not technically a founding father.
How is Benjamin Franklin not a founding
He was
father?
the founding grandfather. Whatever.
He signed the Declaration of Independence.
We're gonna talk about this in a later episode.
Okay, what is the name of the giant, big spaceship thing that they go to?
The space station.
Yeah, the city.
Oh, the one that you just asked me about.
Yeah, and I gave you the name
Yorktown.
earlier. Yorktown. Is correct.
Yorktown. You guys, listening has its benefits. I only do it about a quarter of the time, but tuned in for that one.
So, okay, you have 5 right. If you get the last question right, I will give you a special prize.
Okay.
Or the listeners will get a special prize to be determined.
Or both.
Or both. What is the official name of the artifact that everyone is trying to get their greedy little hands on and beyond?
Okay. This is an unfair question because they never disclose that.
That is completely untrue. They say it 3 times in the movie. I know because I tallied it.
The Iron Gauntlet.
Okay, that's not even close to close.
I know. I have no idea. It could be called the
I was waiting for you to say the name when you were going to say that. Like, it could be called
it could be called Patronus. It could be like Daenerys. It could be Gimli. I don't know.
Ready? That was great. That was a good sling of references there. It is called the Abernath.
No.
Yes, it is.
No, I want a bonus question. I want to redeem myself. I need a prize.
Okay, bonus question time. If you get this, our listeners will get their prize and you will get your prize. Why is Bones nicknamed Bones?
Because he's a doctor.
Incorrect.
Damn it. Can I phone a Trekkie?
Only if that person's not me.
Well, you're the only Trekkie I know.
Yeah, then no.
Okay.
I'll give you the answer. It's because when he first meets Kirk, he's just recently divorced and joining Starfleet because he has nowhere else to go. And he tells him that his wife took everything but his bones in the divorce. Actually, quote, she took the whole damn planet in the divorce. All I got left are my bones.
Wow. I mean, I love that quote, but I am a little salty and bitter that I lost the game.
I'm very, very sorry. It's not because I don't love you. You got 5 out of 11 questions.
That's good.
Please don't hate me.
But well, guys,
the great thing about this is that you get to quiz me on something that I know nothing about in a future episode.
The horrible thing about this is all the hate mail that you guys are going to send to me at Meredith at nerdchatpodcast.com because I guess I seem like a fake fan.
Or all the other questions I should have asked to Presley at nerdchatpodcast.com. Or you can just leave us suggestions to do the rest of Star Trek in future episodes on our suggestion page at our website. What's our website, Mare?
nerdchatpodcast.com. If you go there, you can look at pictures of us and read our bios, listen to old episodes, and buy some merch. Presley just sent me some merch. I posted a picture of it up on our Instagram, which is at nerdchatpodcast. We have stickers, mugs, t-shirts,
You can get anything
with our logo, and they look sick.
Yeah, so you should definitely do that. We also have Facebook and Twitter at Nerd Chat Podcast. The best thing that you could do for us ever, other than sending us suggestions, is to tell a friend about the podcast. We don't advertise or do anything else for this podcast other than just produce it. So we'd love to get that word of mouth going. So tell your friends about it. Subscribe to the podcast so you do not miss any future episodes. And leave us a review because it really, really, really helps us. We read them all. We love to hear from you guys. So please, please, please do that.
Presley, I only have one thing to say.
Please.
Live long and prosper.
Thank you. Live long and prosper. We're both holding up our hands in the classic Vulcan send-off. Oh, quick fun fact, movie fun fact. In the first movie, Zachary Quinto, Spock, could not do that. And so J.J. Abrams superglued his fingers together because he got so frustrated with him trying to do it on camera, not being able to. And so when he does his final send-off to the old Spock, you can see his hands like really relaxed when he does it, and it looks very, very strange. It's because he can't keep his hands like straight while they're superglued doing that. It's very fun.
Well, live long and prosper, Presley. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Yeah, all of our fans live long and prosper. Until next time, I'm Presley.
And I'm Meredith.
Bye nerds.